Good evening, fuckers. We are back once again for the Renegade Master with the ill behaviour or something like that. Now, this is yet another one which is featuring the debut for the loco and for, well, 90% of the route. So, for this run, we are back on the Chiltern Mainline, but we're not actually staying on the mainline for very long. In fact, we're still in London when we turn off it, and we are heading down the extension to Aylesbury. So yeah, the run is London Marylebone to Aylesbury. Distance of, as you can see, about just shy of 38 miles. We will also be stopping at all stations along the way, especially as there's not a huge number of them. So yeah, it should be pretty good. And besides which, the train that we are going to be driving is very much the sort that would stop at all stations. So the train is a class 168, specifically in the Chiltern Railways mainline livery. Although this is not the CRAP livery as the manual describes it, genuinely does describe it as that. Yes, which I posted the image of on the on the posts section of the channel. I think it was only yesterday I posted that. But yeah, we can actually see it in the in the simulated metaphorical flesh, as it were, or at least we would if I had chosen that particular livery. I mean, there's not a hell of a lot of difference between the two. This is the one we're using, and that is the one that was described as the CRAP one. Yeah. So yes, this is the new lights version. How it differs to the old one, I haven't got the faintest idea. This will be the first time I've ever driven this loco. It will also be the first time I've ever done this route. So yeah, plenty of firsts in this particular video, which is probably just as well because the Chiltern line really does not get much in the way of requests or anything. I almost get the feeling I'm the only one who likes it, and I really do like it. I think it's a fantastic route. The run that I did, the London to Birmingham run in the Class 68, that video, that is definitely one of my favourite drives that I've had in the entire game, let alone since I started doing these vids. Anyway, so the train is 4-car train. Should have absolutely no problem with any of the stops. And for the specifics, well, it's the first time we've done this route, so we want to get some good views. So it's summer, it's clear, and it's 11:30 AM. Now, the only slight issue with the Chiltern Mainline is it's not the most stable of the route DLCs, and sometimes it will crash the desktop for no reason whatsoever during loading. So if there is a jump cut during the loading part, you will know it did it then, and I'm starting the second attempt. Anyway, with all that in mind, let's get this up and running. And here we are, first time. So yeah, it's absolute an absolute picture. That driver vigilance device is isolated. Now I do need to move, yeah, the reverser out of the way in order to get the master key done. There we go. So all set. Let's get the lighting sorted out. Now, I can't actually turn off the rear lights, well, rear lights, tail lights, which is a bit weird because it does mean that yeah, I have a tail light showing here. Oh well, can't be helped. Anyway, this is our class 168 at London Marylebone station. So we have a class 143 coming, 143, class 43 coming in. Because yeah, you saw that all the time on this line. Well, so anyway, yes, if you saw the video that I did of the London to Birmingham run in this thing, then you'll know, you'll be only too familiar with this layout as we get we'll let the passengers on and off. So Aylesbury is 37.77 miles away. It's a relatively short journey. And the 168s didn't only do the journey to Aylesbury, they also, I think I said did, and they still run on the Chiltern line even today, I think. But they also do the mainline run, obviously not all the way to Birmingham. They will take you to, I think, as far as Bicester if you're going from London. And if you're going from the Birmingham end, actually again, I think they will take you as far as Bicester. So it is possible to do the entire run in a class 168, but yeah, you'd probably have to do it in like 2 halves. Anyway, we are all set. Get DRA off and let's get underway. So 168 is of course a DMU, which I suspect is a DEMU. Let's okay, let's not open the windows because it doesn't look like that's an option. No, okay, we're not opening the windows. So I'm not a big fan of the exit from Marylebone because we have the rather long tunnel which we are fast approaching. So there we go, cannot see a fucking thing. I'm the cab light on while we're under here. We're now into a 50 mph zone, so let's get some speed up. 7 notches on the throttle of the 168. I think that's the same for all of the 170 series. So, you know, 168, 170 and 171. All 3 of them are in the Armstrong Powerhouse pack. Although to be fair, when you have the Dovetail Games class 170, which you need to be able to install this, that comes with the 170 as well. So the 168 is the only completely new loco actually within this pack itself. close. Then as soon as we leave the tunnel, we have another, which is nowhere near as long, but nevertheless still just as unwelcome. So despite the fact that we are going to be branching off from the Chiltern Mainline, we will still be traversing the Chiltern Hills. I think we start going over them once we leave the station at Chorley Wood. Don't quote me on it, but I'm fairly sure that is the case. Also, while the max line speed of the Chiltern line is 100 mph, as we pass what I think is a 220. No, it's a 221. Yeah, the max line speed is 100, but I don't know if this particular branch goes as fast as 100. But I guess we will find out soon enough. It's a 1 in 97 downhill section, rather caught me off guard. So first speeding error already. I do like this Chiltern's railway livery actually. The other one, the infamous CRAP one, is a bit drab. This one does look a good deal nicer. So we have another downhill gradient coming up, but thankfully we enter a 65 mph zone as we are, well, we're already on it by the time we go into it, but it should still be fine. Yeah, 1 in 95 downhill. It's steeper than I thought. So we are still accelerating despite the fact that we are coasting. That's okay, the acceleration is certainly not running away with us. So we're entering the 65 zone. And we're now in it, so we can actually put the throttle up a bit. We'll go up to 4. There's the the flashing yellows as we approach the points where we will turn off the Chiltern Mainline and on to the Aylesbury extension. So even though we're in a 75 zone, we don't want to be accelerating too much because we are about to enter a 60. So that yellow signal just turned green. I don't know why it did. But here we are. So yeah, Chiltern Mainline continues on and we turn off and head down here. This also means that we run alongside the underground line for longer than if we were staying on the Chiltern Mainline. Anyway, we now have 75 mph section, so let's take it up to full throttle and get us up to that 75. So yeah, we are now this side of Wembley Stadium. Do you remember on the run to Birmingham Snow Hill? Yeah, we were very much on the other side, even stopping at Wembley Stadium station itself. Well, except we went straight through it, but you saw the Wembley Stadium station. So 1 in 163 uphill, and it's affecting our acceleration. I was not expecting that. So we have a class 55 because yeah, the Deltic ran on this line plenty of times as well. Oh, right, so we got a hefty speed decrease down to 40. That must be the approach to Harrow on the Hill station. We're on a 1 in 91 uphill climb, and yep, Harrow on the Hill station is on the route display. Now, like I said in the intro, I've not driven this train before, but I suspect the brakes on it are properly decent. I mean, I'm going to have to start braking earlier than I would like anyway because of that 40 mph zone. But we'll certainly get the chance to see how they do. Yeah, these brakes are fine. This is only step 1. So into the 40 zone. Yeah, I'm very much getting the impression that we will not be going anywhere near 100 mph on this particular run. Oh yeah, full service brakes are certainly doing the job. So yeah, let passengers off here. So this is Harrow on the Hill station. Unfortunately, I've stopped in a bit of an awkward spot, but nevertheless, you still see a fair bit. You can also clearly see that Harrow on the Hill is probably more of an underground tube station than it is a mainline station. I'm not sure if it's the Jubilee or the Metropolitan line that stops here. Maybe someone from the area can let us know. The only reason I'm suspecting it's the Jubilee line is because, well, I've only had a Jubilee line underground train. It's the only underground train I've got, well, that is still on the underground. But, and here we are just to illustrate it, as I was about to say, of course I do also have the Class 483, the former underground train, which is now the Isle of Wight train, and there it is. So yeah, the fact that the only underground train I have is a Jubilee, was supposed to be on the Jubilee line, does not mean that that is necessarily what this line is that we're running alongside. I thought around this part of, northwest London it would have been the Metropolitan, but so the way that they're extending the Jubilee line, I can't be certain. It does actually look like we are running on an underground line. We have the third rail right in the middle. I'm sure it won't last. In fact, there you go. Oh, okay. Well, it's back again. We must be going down the hill. I'll be glad when we enter this 60 zone. I mean, I am only coasting, but yeah, speed is going up. But now we're in the 60 zone, we'll throttle up and use some of our own power to get us up to speed. Hopefully there will be a 75 mph section coming up. There's another underground station, I don't know which one. Quite a few underground, I keep saying underground, I mean it's clearly not underground, quite a few tube stations that will be passing on this branch. And also, just to add, the small branch line that connects Aylesbury to the Chiltern Mainline, it rejoins at Prince's Risborough. That's also included in this extension. So yeah, it's a pretty good addition, especially if you are a big fan of the original route, the Class 50. I think the 50s did run on here, not for very long, but they did. They certainly weren't running at the same time as Class 168s. We'll say it was a rail tours one. Trying to maintain our speed at a constant. I think I've managed to, no, increasing speed again now. Yeah, I don't think we are going to be able to keep this at a constant. we're not far off it, but so our 168 and the 483 going past. So another tube station, presumably it's northward. Oh, Northwood Hills, there you go. That's quite handy. I was not expecting it, but yeah, proves to be rather useful. Doesn't look like we are going to be getting any trackside views anytime soon. Lost a bit of speed as well. Let's get us back up to 60 again. It's looking less and less likely that we are going to get the chance to go any faster than 60. So Moor Park is the next stop, not the next station. This looks very much like another underground station that we're coming up to here. Spotted that too late. Moor Park does look like quite the small station. I think we will be able to get the whole train on there, but it's going to be rather tight. Wow, yeah, this is a small station. But yeah, we were able to get all of the train on here. In fact, managed to get that pretty much perfect. So here we are then at Moor Park, which really does look very much like a well, a station that's in the middle of bugger all nowhere. Sort of reminds me of the station at Saden Boys on the Central Line. A station that every time I see it I think, why the fuck is this thing here? Anyway, doors are shut, we are all set, off we go. It's a shame we can't open the windows because yeah, it's very quiet in the cab. I mean, it's not like this is a particularly noisy train by any stretch, but and once we start getting some speed up, then you can start to hear it. Trouble is, on this line, once we start to get some speed up, we've then got to stop accelerating. So Rickmansworth is our next stop. Got a very slow approach to it, 25 mph, and that comes into effect about a quarter of a mile from the station. That looks very much like a 153. Anglia liveried 153 on the Chiltern line. Try and figure that one out. So we're fine as far as our speed on the approach to this station. So there we are, we're in the 25 zone now. And then, yeah, when we leave it, it's back to 60 again, so it does really look like 60 is going to be our max speed for this run. Well, for the rest of the run, yes, we did have a 75 mph section not long after we left Marylebone. But that, well, I think that is going to be, yeah, it as far as being able to do 75. So again, looking very much like an underground station or tube station. So this is Rickmansworth. Doesn't look too bad here. I'm fairly sure Rickmansworth is Hertfordshire, so it's probably a snobby place. It's a fairly safe guess when you're talking about Hertfordshire. Right, doors shut, onwards. You would be too slow for me with that. So 1 in 110 uphill climb. I think we might be on the outskirts of the actual Chiltern Hills themselves. Let's start getting some speed up, especially as we are now in a 60 zone. So yeah, tail lights at the rear working fine. Unfortunately, they're also still working on the front. They really shouldn't be. I've no idea why that is the case, but nevertheless. So it's now 1 in 99 uphill climb. Chorleywood is the next station. That is definitely within the Chilterns, so yeah, this is all certainly starting to make sense. Gradient has eased off a bit, now 1 in 106. Still going to need some, well, we're going to need the full series brakes to stop us rolling back in the station, because it doesn't look like the ground is level as we are going through the station there. And the gradient is certainly doing a decent enough job at slowing us down. So yeah, another fairly small station. No problem with a train this size, that's for sure, but yeah, you certainly wouldn't want to be trying to get an 8-car train here. So this is Chorleywood. Again, looks pretty nice. But you would imagine that, you know, a small sort of town within the Chiltern Hills is going to be quite a nice, well, it's certainly a nice looking place anyway. Certainly not one of those places where you hear about the need to crack down on knife crime in the streets, you know. So onwards and upwards. We might as well stick it straight into full throttle. Cooling fans having to kick in. The engine's working overtime, getting us up this hill. So Chalfont and Latimer is the next stop. Plenty of signals around there, that's for sure. And I think we can safely say, proof positive, that we will not be going any faster than 60 for the rest of this. So again, we'll let the gradient slow us down to start with. Okay, definitely not slowing down fast enough. Still all London Underground roundels. I can't imagine that the London Underground will be coming out this far. So here we are at Chalfont and Latimer station. I've heard of Chalfont, but yeah, Latimer not so familiar with. Right, onwards and still upwards, I suspect. So it looked like that station could actually take 6-car trains. I think that might be pushing it a bit, but oh well. And still only the overhead view. Aha! Here we have the view I wanted. Unfortunately, no view from the passenger's point of view. Clicking away, nothing. So Amersham, the next stop. mile and a half up the line, we get the chance to go up to 75. So here we are at Amersham station. Certainly looks like quite the scenic locale. Yeah, doesn't look like too bad a place at all. Almost certainly absolutely chock full of snobs. No, away we go. Onwards, but I don't think upwards for too much longer. That 75 mph section that's coming up did look like it was on a downhill section. Aylesbury is about 14.25 miles away, so it is certainly possible that we will be going downhill for a good chunk of that. In fact, we are already in a 70 zone. And on a 1 in 160 downhill section, so it's not hugely steep downhill. I mean, let's be honest, the Chilterns are not particularly, you know, steep in any direction. Let's see if we do indeed continue gaining speed while just coasting. It looks like we are at a very slow rate, so we'll carry on with the throttle applied for a bit. So entering the 75 zone. There we are now in there. No more London Underground track, now just on the standard 2 rails. Certainly starting to hear where we are picking up speed. Not sure what the next station is, but I do know Stoke Mandeville is the penultimate stop. I'm not expecting that to be the next station. So now 1 in 125 downhill. In fact, we are soon going to be on another uphill section. So the ground looks like it's levelling out around here, and indeed it is, and then we start heading uphill with Great Missenden, the next station. So it'd probably be advisable to not throttle up just yet, but we can certainly do that as we pull out of the station there and give it a decent amount of speed. I'm not sure what the top speed of this thing is. Can't see it written anywhere. I would imagine it's somewhere around the sort of 90. It might be able to touch 100, but I'd be surprised. I think it's more likely to be 90. In fact, the 170s can certainly do 90. The 168, which I think was used pretty much exclusively on the Chiltern line, may not even be able to do 90. It might be, you know, sort of like 80, 85. You know, it could be that the gear ratios were kept a bit lower so you could get up and down the gradients no problem, and sacrifice some of the top speed, which it clearly doesn't need, since the fastest on this route is only 75 mph. Thought I might have left it a bit late there, but actually I think we're fine. Yeah, easy. So this is Great Missenden. Never heard of it, but it's certainly a pretty scenic looking place by the looks of things. And you know, I mean, it's in the Chilterns, so it's bound to be. In fact, it was me talking about Hertfordshire and all that all the time. I think this is actually Buckinghamshire. Hertfordshire is next door. Okay. Right, let's slam it straight into full throttle. Get ourselves back up to 75 ASAP. It's 1 in 125 uphill, certainly impacting on our acceleration rate. So we just reached 50. not quite as steep now, 1 in 162. I mean, that difference is so slight as to really not make any difference at all. But it's still impacting on our acceleration rate. Right, what train have we got here? We've got a 143. We're certainly getting a variety of other trains on this run. Okay, so we're about to hit the summit. We're going to start going downhill. So what sort of gradient are we talking? 1 in 131. Looks like Wendover is our next stop. Certainly in one way this is very similar to the Chiltern run that I did, the London to Birmingham run. It's has that real sort of like tranquil locale about it, especially while we are going through the Chilterns here. I mean, not surprising at all. Does look really nice. I think we're definitely going to need full service brakes here because we are still going downhill. So there we are. So that is Wendover station. Wendover I am familiar with. Well, I've never actually been there, but I have heard of it. Right, we've got to take a look at this. The dog saucist. Well, yeah, I must admit that's a film that I'm not familiar with. But speaking as somebody who has seen Shark Exorcist, actually I'll tell you, I couldn't get through it. I saw about, I think about 3/4 of it and I just had enough. It was such a... I mean, the title alone tells you it's going to be a shitpole, and I am the kind of person who goes out of his way to, you know, find and watch shit films, but that was just too much. I mean, bollocks doesn't even begin to describe it. So I'm fairly sure the next station is going to be Stoke Mandeville, and then it will be Aylesbury. Aylesbury is less than 4.5 miles away now. So it's now 1 in 117 downhill, certainly helping the acceleration rate. Yeah, Stoke Mandeville is coming up on the route display. Alright, what's this one we've got coming towards us here? It looks like another 50. It is another 50. It's good to see those actually appearing on routes. I was really miffed when I got the Class 50, the Dovetail Gains one, and doesn't appear in any career scenarios. There are a fair few standard scenarios that it appears in, but yeah, I'm much more interested in career scenarios than standard. Yeah, this 1 in 117 gradient is making slowing down a little bit of a headache. So it is levelling off a bit. I mean, it's now 1 in 364, that's not a problem. Fair size station here. Well, certainly compared to any of the others we've been to so far. So here we are at Stoke Mandeville. Like, I think the vast majority of people, the only thing I know with regards to Stoke Mandeville is Stoke Mandeville Hospital, but I always thought that was in London. Certainly looks nice, but I can imagine everyone who lives here is probably sick to death of, you know, when people asking them where they're from and they say Stoke Mandeville, the next question is always, oh, why, what was wrong with you? What were you in there for, you know, sort of thing. Anyway, we're off for the final stretch. 2.2 miles to Aylesbury. So yeah, there it is on the route display. You have a speed decrease, quite a hefty one, down to 35 coming up. Now that branch line that I was telling you about between Aylesbury and Prince's Risborough, that was a line that was frequently used by Class 121s, you know, the old bubble cars. So That's a potential video. Quite a short one. There's only 2 stops between Aylesbury and Prince's Risborough. Well, it certainly made Aylesbury look like a fair-sized, somewhat sprawling town, which I think it is to a degree. I mean, it's certainly not, you know, comparable in size to, you know, really major towns like, you know, Leeds or Bristol or something, but it's not a pokey little backwater, that's for sure. Yeah, while coasting, picking up speed at a reasonably sort of rate, or at least we were. The yeah, gradient's now leveled off a fair bit, 1 in 365 as we enter the 35 mph zone. Another class 143 in the sidings. And another 153 in the station. Yeah, no surprise to 153s. In fact, that doesn't look like a 153. Or if it is, it's one of the rare occasions where they actually hooked 2 of them up together. But yeah, obviously the 153s took over from the 121s when they finally were withdrawn. So there we are. Here we are at Aylesbury. So that was London Marylebone to Aylesbury on the Aylesbury extension of the Chiltern line in the class 168. That's quite a nice drive, quite a relaxing one. It wasn't testing really in any way. Even so, I still managed to get a fair few speeding errors. We'll find out exactly how many. 5, yeah, that's not good. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it is quite a straightforward drive. There's no doubt about that, even though the 5 speeding errors would suggest otherwise. But yeah, it is quite a nice one. The trouble is, because the 168 wasn't really tested at all, I couldn't really tell you how well it drives. I mean, it seems quite a straightforward, easy loco to get the grips with, but I'd probably have to do a run that's a bit more taxing on it before I can really sort of give you any sort of definitive you know, yes or no as to whether it's any good. I mean, I like the 170s, so I have no reason to think the 168s will not be every bit as good. But there we are. Yeah, it was quite a good one, that. So I've not done the old yeah, if you have a request spiel for a bit, so here goes. So yeah, if you do have a request, especially as they have been kind of drying up a bit of late, then simply click on the link in the description and it will take you to the video where I go through all of the locos and all of the routes that are available. Also, take a look at the pinned comment there, because there are quite a few routes and locos in that pinned comment now that I've got since recording that video. So that way you've got a full up-to-date list of all of the routes, all of the locos that are available to you. And if you see a route or a loco that you fancy seeing a video of, then bung it in the comments and we'll get it done. It's as simple as that. So there we are, job done. That is this video, yeah, over and done with, and we will see you at the next one.